Nice.
All right, guys, welcome to the Prowler Podcast tonight. Today we're thrilled to have one of my good friends, David Lewis, on here. That also we know as AKA Cinco. He played college with me at Belhaven, and he also played high school ball at a school in how you say it, Gretna,
Gretna, yep.
Gretna,
Yeah,
Louisiana, at Thomas Jefferson High School.
yeah.
And he brings a good perspective because he's ever since out of college he switched to another sport called soccer, and then now he's back at Millsaps, which is our rival in college. And so I'm gonna turn it over to him where he can introduce himself and give a little bit more background on what he does now and the expertise he's gonna bring to us tonight. So
What's up, guys? Whoever is watching, even if you aren't right now, I know you will. My name is David Lewis. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. Went to school in Gretna. I play linebacker. I was a linebacker, so I'm on a smack. But I I just love sports, dude. I always have. I've loved football. Played since I was 5. Played with my man Preston, as he said, at Belhaven. I was a linebacker there. Um, we weren't too good. Our team wasn't too good, but we had some good highlights. So we'll take it. You'll take it. And after that, I actually went on, got my master's. I started coaching soccer, and now I am at our rival school, Millsap, and I am an admissions counselor. So I'm just trying to get people to the school. But as what I'm gonna bring tonight, I watch football all the time. I never stopped. I never will. I love the recruiting aspect. I remember when I was getting recruited, so when Preston was like, "Do you want to come on and talk?" I'm like, "Bro, I'm a yapper. Let's yap." So I'm here.
we know you can yap, man. Hey, if people didn't know Cinco in college, he was the biggest smack talker on the field by far. So, but no, so the first thing we'll talk about, Cinco, is tell these athletes what steps you took in high school and what you could do better now, knowing what you have been through.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. So high school, it was. I'll go back. I'll give a little backstory. So my sophomore year, I actually tore my ACL in our playoff game. Last game of the season, torn ACL. Boom. I'm like, I didn't think I tore it. I was like, oh, it's all right. But went to the doctor. They're like, it's torn. Let's reboot this. So going into my junior year, I'm coming off of an ACL surgery. So my first 4 games weren't bad, but they weren't me. I wasn't out there reckless abandon like I like to play. So junior year was slow, but at the end it started ramping up. So going into camps, after my junior year, I'm like, oh, I gotta go to every camp. I gotta go to every college camp that they got out there. I need to get my name out there. So I know we're gonna get to that later, but they got some things with camps that you just got to think about as a recruit. So I went to a lot of camps. Going into my senior year, I maybe had 2 offers from little schools, one NAIA, one D3. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me just work. Let me just go hard, play hard. Senior year, I play hard, play great. After the season, I get Louisiana Tech and Louisiana Lafayette. They come to my school. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm about to get an offer. This is it. This is it. So they come and they both say nearly identical. We love you as a player, but we want you as a preferred walk-on. We don't have money for you in that capacity. And in my mind, I like to play. I want to play. So when I heard that, even though it's a big school, even though it's like, wow, I could have been signing there. I could have been putting on the Raging Cajun and looking cool, posting it on Instagram like I'm a Cajun. But in my head, I'm like, I want to play. So Belhaven, when Hal Mummy was still there, Preston knows Hal.
Good
But
old air raid.
yeah, the good old air raid. But Hal Mummy came to Gretna, Louisiana. He came to Thomas Jefferson to my school. He was like, "Is David Lewis here?" I'm like, I'm in the courtyard, just acting a fool. Hell, mommy coming like, David, nice to meet you. I'm like, who is this dude? He's like, I'm the coach from Belhaven. I'm like, Belhaven, what in the world? Like, cool. I'm like, and my mom like, cool, thanks, man. Pleasure meeting you. So time goes on. And my recruiting process, I'm like, man, I gotta make a choice because once you get to that time, they want you to make a choice. So I'm like, man, I want to play. Who has been talking to me and saying, man, we want you. You have a good chance of playing. Just come and see Belhaven. So I ended up choosing Belhaven strictly because I felt I could impact and I felt they wanted me to impact. So though that's just another little tidbit that I would say to recruits. You gotta go where people want you.
Mm-hmm.
Preston, he knows exactly that. You gotta go where you are wanted. You are not going somewhere where you're clawing. You're always clawing because clawing is tiring.
Yeah,
Clawing is
it'll burn out an athlete quick.
You're quick and a good athlete. You'll be like, man, I remember Jonathan. He was so good, but he went and he just started climbing, and the climb was too much. So athletes out there, man, you got to choose where they want you. And that's what I did with Belhaven. Went on, as I said, we struggled as a team. I think we went 2-8 every single year. But I will say, but right after we left, they became conference champions. And directly, it was like 2 years conference champs. So those guys, I will say, our last year we went 2-8, but we were in every ball game.
Yeah.
Every single game. If it's one of those ones that you're watching on ESPN, Kurt Herbstreit's like, we got a game. Belhaven's in this thing. So that was just one of those things where culture built. So don't ever think you're too big for culture building. Okay.
Right. And you always want to go somewhere that you're welcome to,
Exactly.
Because I especially nowadays with the transfer portal as it is, because I've had kids on here on this podcast before. They're current athletes.
Mm-hmm.
We have one on here, Christian Smiley, off defensive end for UT Martin right now. Gotcha. And he's stuck it out all for 5 years. He's a fifth-year senior this year, and he told kids he thought about transferring several times, but the coaches kept him there because they've stayed through the journey with him. And even though due to the transfer portal, he's had a couple guys transfer in front of him, which has rubbed him the wrong way.
Yeah.
But now he's getting his time. He did for his ACL last year, which is why he got granted his 5th year. But he had a big sack against Tennessee last year. Tennessee is not no chumps no more. So
at all, yeah.
So
that's huge, dude. Yeah, that's huge.
With kids nowadays, I think they get stuck in the glamour due to what they see on media constantly, what they see on social media, and they think they got to live up to it. And if they don't live up to it, they think there's no afterthought. And I tell kids all the time, D2 and D3 football. Heck, we know the conference we were in wasn't no joke.
No joke. Texas.
There was 3 teams in there easily that could have won the national championship every year, right?
Yeah.
And one of them did back-to-back years.
One of them was
Baylor. So
yeah. So
I tell guys all the time, don't sleep on those opportunities, especially nowadays with what the transfer portal is and the limitations that are not there anymore. You can easily climb the ranks if you make a name for yourself at a school like Belhaven or Mary Hunter Baylor, because like the safety we played against Cinco, that was what was his name? Number 2, Fitzgerald.
I think he was number 2. Yeah,
if he was in the climate now with football, by the end of his career, we would have seen him probably at a Power 5.
He's at Oklahoma State. He's at Oklahoma State if he was in this time. If he was in this time, that, dude, that's so true. You can build your way up so fast. Correct.
And that's what I like about, college football now and college sports in general, because it allows these athletes that might not mature like we did until we get to college.
Exactly.
To have the opportunity to get to that point.
Yes.
And, but you mentioned PWO a minute ago, and there's a lot of talks at the Power 5 level that they want to get rid of those opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think back when we were coming out of high school, PWO wasn't a bad option to take because there was a lot of preferred walk-ons that still made a name for themselves and made it to the NFL. You know,
Yeah,
one example is Stetson Bennett. You know, he was a diehard Georgia fan. He wanted to make a name for himself, which we all know he's going to go down in the Hall of Fame books now
easily.
because he won back-to-back national championships as a walk-on. You ain't going to hear that many more times.
Nah,
And I still got faith in him in the NFL as long as he keeps his head on straight that he's going to be a recognized quarterback at some point.
he's good.
But PWOs nowadays is not the same, in my opinion, as when we came out of high school. You know,
Not even close.
PWO is just a practice dummy at the end of the day to me.
Yep.
And it's just a number on the roster to fill the roster so they got enough to use as a practice squad. So I tell kids all the time, you know, I had a kid last year. He went to Faulkner this year, which Faulkner is a very recognizable NAIA program. And he had a PWO to go to Mississippi State, and he was getting his head blown up. I was like, it's an amazing opportunity. But at the end of the day, you got the potential to become that guy, but you go get bigger a little bit.
Build your way up. Build your way up. Yes.
Yeah.
You're not there yet.
And plus, you know, I tell kids all the time that I bring onto my system is that if you go to NAIA, think of it this way: it's a JUCO to you. You're not using eligibility at the NCAA level, but you're getting sometimes the same facilities and equipment as a D3 or D2 program has.
Oh yes.
So why not go there, play 2 years, ball out if you get the opportunity to, not have any eligibility to use at NCAA level, transfer in then. Oh man, you could be playing till you're 27. Imagine as a 27-year-old out there playing against 21-year-olds.
Absolutely yoked. Just absolutely yoked up, man. That is awesome.
So that's a route that I've discovered with the new transfer portal. Because NAIA, yes, they have limitations, but they can't control if you leave their league and go to NCAA. It's NCAA then controlling who they accept.
Yes.
You know,
exactly.
There was a baseball coach not too long ago, Lindsey Wilson College up in Kentucky, and he tweeted that he was sick and tired of NCAA coaches contacting his players and not telling him.
Oh,
that just tells you all I said right then.
That's it.
There's no limitations on who they can contact anymore.
Yeah. That's
at
it.
At the end of the day, NAIA is a JUCO ground for them because they know they're going to get 4 more years out of the athlete. They know he's been in college. They know he's been through the process and been through college life. And also, who's not going to take a college athlete that's been in the system for 2 years, has the academics, and not going to take a high school senior that who knows if he's going to flunk out of the first year?
You don't know.
Because we both know, Cinco, when we were in college, they were saying, hey, we got to keep his head on.
Dude, college fresh. I don't even need to think about college freshmen. Like you're nowhere near up here, nowhere near where you need to be. So
no, not at all, man. So it's an interesting path nowadays, and I think if athletes realize the journey they could take and the steps they take, if they take them smartly, they're going to put themselves up a leg up. And not only that, but when you get to that top level, if you get there, you can set yourself up for life with the NIL deals now. And it doesn't matter where you start at.
Yep.
So
just like that.
But the next point we're going to talk about is, you know, because there's a lot of recruiting software and services out there, and I know we're one of them.
Yeah.
But we try to be different. You know, we try to get that personal feel, as I told you, but we also leverage technology nowadays because technology is a huge thing. Yeah. And if you use it right, you can get the exposure you need because how many coaches are on X every day?
No.
So
too many.
So with that being said, did you use any services or things in high school to leverage yourself?
Okay, so I remember my dad told me to sign up for some type of clearinghouse. He was like, sign up for the NCSA or something like that clearinghouse. So I did that. Nothing really came from it, dude. So I took it upon myself. I would go on, it was Twitter back then, X, but I would go on X and just look up a school. I'll look up, let's say, Mississippi College football. I go to them, I find their coaches, I just DM them my highlights. Hey, I'm David Lewis. I like to play football. So I did that, and I would do that just religiously, just myself, nobody else, because when I tried to use some type of clearinghouse, I got 3 messages from, it seemed like, robot schools in North Dakota and Antarctica and stuff like that. So none of them just did what they needed to. So in my mind, I was like, let me just do it myself. Let me just text away, see who replies. And that's time consuming. If you can have somebody helping you with that, or just like promoting you, and they know how to do it officially, because I was just like a high school kid. So
Yeah.
just sending stuff. I'm like, hey man, I can hit people. Like, I can send that to you, but I don't know how to actually promote. I didn't know how to actually promote myself like that.
Correct. And here at the Prowler, we've created that AI system that automatically generates your intro message to the coach, and also will give you a prompt response back. And I don't know if many people know how AI works nowadays, but it's pretty dang smart if you leverage it the right way, right? So the way we've integrated it, first off, when you join the Prowler, you get access to our PRS database, which has each school broken down with each of the recruiting contacts at that school automatically for you. And it web scrapes that every 3 months for it to make sure it's the most accurate. And that information you get the email, get their phone number, and you get their X handle.
Wow.
Based off of that, our system will prompt the AI once we initiate it in your X and Gmail to automatically message those coaches.
Oh, that is awesome.
And with that intro message, not only are we broadcasting who you are, but it's going to tell them that how excited you would love to be a part of the program, which, all coaches want to know you're excited about. They don't want to just see, oh, hey, this guy's reaching out to me, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You want to strike on their page, because how many kids are messaging them every day, especially a D1 and D2 coach?
Exactly. Every day.
So you want to make sure your message pops out to them first off. And in that message, you want to make sure you got 6 bullets that are popping measurables to them, And we try to make that your height, weight, bench, squat, and your 40 and your vertical.
Mm-hmm.
And we add your ACT in there, your GPA, because they want to know academic purposes too most of the time. So we do add that in there. And it pops your huddle highlight link for your profile at the bottom. So you don't have to do nothing of that. It automatically sends that to the coaches once it's done.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So athletes, they've seen the benefit in our system because they don't have to do the work.
Exactly.
And it's crazy to think this, but America gets lazier and lazier by the day, right?
Yeah.
So if they see an AI tool that does the work for them and they just got to pay a monthly fee for it, they're going to take that every day over NCSA, because those kind of machines, I'm not throwing them under the bus, but I've seen how they work. You put your name in their system and the coach has to find you.
Mm-hmm.
We're not having a system. We've populated a spreadsheet for you to use if you want to use it outside of what our system does. But we're reaching out on your X specifically, which we get access to their player's X, and we get access to the player's Gmail. So we're using their title.
Yeah.
So it's not coming from a recruiting service.
Beautiful. It's coming from the source.
Yeah. And they want to see it from the source.
Yes. Every time.
They don't want to go to a recruiting service, find it, because first off, they already have to check enough boxes during the day. And as a mission counselor now, dealing with Millsaps football coaches and all the coaches there, all the sports, but those coaches got to do stuff outside of recruiting every day. So do they have the time to go check NCSA every day? Heck no.
Nope.
So
I
think, not to brag on my tool, but I think we're a step up above these other guys.
Oh yeah. Y'all leveling up. Y'all are changing the game the Prowler way. Let's
exactly, man. Hey, that's why we call it Prowler Up, because we're up the game every day.
Yeah. I hear you.
By the way, if you want to ever use our hashtag handle, any player that's watching this, it's called hashtag Prowler Up. We'll retweet you too. So
y'all heard the man. Prowler Up, no. Prowler Up.
So the next bullet, you mentioned it earlier, by the way, Cinco, is campus showcases. And we talked briefly before going live tonight is how I support athletes only to go to camps they're invited to. And I'm not a big fan of these but on camps for rivals and stuff because we don't know what all coaches are going to be there always. If you get invited to these prospect camps specifically put on by the university, the coaches are going to be there. Your position coach probably going to be there.
Exactly.
Those are the better options, in my opinion, to take.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on that?
Yeah, so camps. I always said I'm a game player. I was not a camp player. They have some guys that are amazing at camps, good players, but at camps they look like Deion Sanders and Ray Lewis and stuff like that. But so at camps, I have two different scenarios. I have one scenario where I went to a rivals camp, like you were saying, and no coaches were there. It was I saw no college coaches. All I did was run a 40, do a broad jump, do maybe 3 one-on-one reps, and have my parents in the stands. So that was an experience that I probably didn't have to do if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, you come in, Press. What you better say?
Because I was going to say the only thing that's beneficial of those camps is you get accurate measurables.
That's it. True. And it was it was laser time, laser jump. Everything is exactly so. If you think that you run a 4.8, you probably run a 5.1. So I'm just gonna say that right now.
Correct. That's what I influence kids. If they're with a trainer, don't use stopwatch no more.
Don't do it no more.
If you got the ability to get to a laser, start training on that because that's going to give you an ideal mindset of what to actually target. And when you target that and get what you need, that looks better to coaches. Like I know a kid out of 5A, did 2A school, by the way, Cinco.
Yeah.
He went to Georgia's camp, first camp of the senior postseason this summer.
Gotcha.
Kid has no offers at all right now.
Yeah.
He goes to Georgia's camp as a linebacker, 6'2". I think he weighs about 211.
Okay.
By the way, gets offered to Georgia on the spot by Kirby Smart afterwards. He ran a 4.44.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And he's from a 2A school. That's what I tell players. It don't matter where you from. If you got the measurables and you go run that and do solid measurables and everything else, you will be found.
Yeah,
and after he ran that and Georgia offered him on spot, which come on, guys, Georgia's number one team in the country. How many years back now? I'm a Georgia fan.
Don't get him started.
That started the train, and now he's committed to Clemson. That would have never happened if his parents didn't push him to go do that.
That's true.
And so just like you were saying, Cinco, those rival camps are good, but if you can go run that, the only reason you go to those camps is just to get practice, typically, in my opinion.
Yeah, so, you're right. And then on the other side of things, I went to it was All-Conference State. I was taught just like I was saying earlier. I was on Twitter, X, and just finding coaches. I found the Elkhorn coach. I sent them my huddle. He said, "You know what? I like this. Can you come to one of our camps?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm about to get an offer, dude. Let's go. This is it." But even though I did not get an offer, I talked to the coach, and we had actual interaction, and it was more than I talked to any coaches at the rivals camp. And it was just a good experience because it showed me, one, that when you go to camps, they already kind of have an eye out for who they're really watching. That is the one thing I do want to say. Two, even though I just said that, you can still open that eye. So don't think if you're not one of those kids that they have that initial, you can do a rep, boom, you just take it to, they're like, whoa, who is that dude? So just because you're not one of the initial ones they were looking at, if you go into one of those college camps that maybe the coach said, yeah, come, maybe a whole bunch of your teammates are going and you're like, okay, I want to go too. No matter what, once you get there, coaches are there and coaches are watching. So that's your time to really put in work. So camps, no matter what, my last little thing I got to say on camps is they are good when you actually have a logical path to meeting someone who can give you a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
So just take that how it is. All the other camps, I'm not bashing them at all because they do good things. But in high school, you're trying to get a scholarship. You're not trying to see, I'm in the 75th percentile on broad jump.
Yep. And you talk about that, you're not on the map when you go to the camps, right? That's why when a player for me, that's a prior athlete in my system, because I don't give this advice to just any athlete. They got to actually use me.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you get invited by a coach to a camp, that means he's looked at your film.
Mm-hmm.
He sees something he wants to see in person. And if you go replicate good numbers and actually in 7-on-7 or one-on-one drills, where you're offensive lineman, receiver, quarterback, whatever, if you go replicate that in a camp, you could pull an offer at the end.
Yep.
Just like we were talking a minute ago with that Logan Anderson kid at Fife.
Yeah.
He did just that.
Pulled off. Yep.
He wasn't invited to the Georgia camp, but he knew if he went on and put that show on, that I'm pretty sure he knew his 40 was a good shot to do.
Yeah.
That's when schools come knocking. You're gonna have Hall of Fame coaches like Kirby Smart at your door.
Every time.
So,
every single time, dude.
And I know for a fact. I mean, I know he went to Clemson now, but he's playing for another Hall of Fame coach, Dabo Swinney.
Dabo.
I know he hasn't had the best few years lately, but he's always a recognizable program.
He did his due. Yeah.
Clemson hasn't been the Clemson we knew 4 years ago lately, but you better believe he's always on that cusp of possibly being back.
So I want to ask you, week 1, Clemson, Georgia. Is it y'all just
my take, and the only reason I say this, Kirby has experience at the offensive level this year, and he's not used to having that. He's got all seniors at receivers. He's got a senior quarterback. He's got a senior running back that just transferred in that broke a bunch of records at Florida on a trash team. So all I gotta say is Clemson better buckle up and hope Cade Klumneck comes to play, because Carson Beck ain't slowing down.
Oh, Carson Beck is not slowing down, he says.
Everybody worried last year, can Carson Beck carry the torch from Stetson Bennett? I think he proved more than he can carry the torch.
He was solid. Beck was solid.
Don't get me wrong. He was throwing to a All-American tight end, Brock Bowers.
Of course.
Yeah, but outside of that, he had Lyle McConkey, which was a good receiver, but Lyle McConkey was also a walk-on. Let's get to that point. So remember that. He was a one-star recruit out of high school.
Yeah. Okay, lad.
So, it's you have interesting variables at every position. And Carson Beck, I think, is, he was a sleeper last year. He kind of snuck in the Heisman talks. I think he should have been on that stage, in my opinion. I think this year, the Heisman race, which I said last week on my talk, is probably going to come down between Carson Beck and Noah Fafita out of Arizona. But I think Noah Fafita out of Arizona got a little leg up because he ain't got that many weapons as Carson Beck does. And if he replicates the numbers I think he's going to do, he'll take that trophy.
Not throwing Dylan Gabriel in there, huh?
I got Oregon winning my national championship this year.
Okay.
I think Gabriel, that defense is salty out there because and Big Ten ain't used to seeing this kind of defense they're about to run against this year. So we all know what Dan Lanning did at Georgia when he played Big Ten teams. So
fair.
Okay. I can't wait for a good game next week. I think we pull it out by 14 points. But
okay, I like that
game. I think it's gonna be exciting. So
I'm ready to watch.
But the next topic we're going to talk about, which is a hot topic for everybody right now, especially athletes going to college, is NIL. What impact do you see it having on college athletes right now?
Dude, NIL is crazy, man. NIL is It's literally a game changer. So I just got college football, the video game.
Mm-hmm.
So they have it on there.
Yep.
Dude, I got like a gym. They like, hey, dude, we'll give you 500 followers for this amount. So NIL it's on the game. So that's how you should know. It's just otherworldly. So for these kids now, I'll go from a smaller school to a bigger school. I'll go up like that because
Mm-hmm.
I'll go into if David Lewis then was a linebacker at Belhaven now, doing what he was doing,
Mm-hmm.
what would his NIL look like? It wouldn't look like a guy from LSU that's going to Canes and got the cane cut right there. I
Correct.
would have to work for some deals, but I think I could still get them. So that's just showing you if a D3 guy can still believe that he can get those deals, these deals are out of control. And
They are.
in the best and worst way possible, they are out of control. So I think what you about to say, Press?
You know, you talk about the main out of control. I saw, which I posted on all my social media today, is Deion Sanders. You know, he took it up upon himself to message all these banks and credit unions to see who would sponsor his idea. And his idea was to use the NIL money that some of these players were using, and it was for the players that already had a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And they opened up a savings account for that kid with, I think it was like 2,151 or
Like
something.
2000 something, yeah.
Yeah. That was the most smartest idea I've ever seen a college coach take, because in my opinion, the NIL money that some of these athletes are getting thrown at them nowadays, because they're getting paid more than NFL quarterbacks, NFL players, period.
Just like that.
And if you could take that money and turn it into something generational wealth, or turn it into something that could take care of your kid to put them in a better spot, if they, not all kids are going to go play NFL, NBA,
Not everybody.
MLB, WNBA. They're not going to play professional sports, So if you had the opportunity to do that and, make the money for your kid, I know if I did, I would have hoped someone advised me to do what Deion did for me.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because it's going to set people up in a better position. It's going to give them a better mindset, and it's going to use your money worth it,
Yeah.
Because my brother sees it. He's at Ole Miss. He's got buddies all over the country that they're taking that money and they're blowing it on other things, And
The other
we
thing.
know what those other things are.
Yeah, we know. I know.
We didn't have money, but we still lived it.
We still did it. We still did the other things. So
yeah,
like they're getting funded. They're college kids getting funded there. So yeah, man. The NIL is incredible because you can be if you're just a basic starter at a Power 5. Let's go to Power 5 now. You're a basic starter at Oklahoma State, dude. You can be set.
yeah.
And 5 years ago, that's incredible because that is so different. And people are like, the kids need to get paid, man. They got to pay these kids. And like, they're like, okay, y'all want them to get paid?
Oh, they're gonna get paid.
Oh, we gonna pay them.
Before they were even getting paid, they were already getting tuition free, and getting stipends on top of that. So they were kind of getting paid from the university.
Yes.
So now they're getting paid outside of the university and getting all these big NIL deals to go on commercials. Like, look at the commercial Quinn Ewers were just on. The dude is already more popular than
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, like the dude's got more clout, got more fame than most quarterbacks ever dreamed of having.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
I know Tom Brady wishes he had that.
Oh, bro.
Before he got in the NFL,
bro.
He didn't start getting commercials until he won his third Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're like, "Oh wait, Tom Brady."
Like,
who
is this man?
Yeah.
That's another guy that has a great story. Of how he never was a guy at Michigan. He waited his turn. He wasn't the guy that got drafted. He was a 7th rounder. wasn't no big fame. You know, that's another thing players need to look at is look at that story he took. He never gave up. Wasn't on the glamorous team, but he
Yep.
got in the right scheme. And who knows if Drew Bledsoe never broke that bone that he did, we might not know Tom Brady is who he is now.
We might not know Tom Brady, man.
Tom Brady could have been traded to the Chargers where Drew Brees got traded to the Saints, and that Chargers team was not good. You know, Tom Brady. Athletes got to realize nowadays if you stick with it, you never know what situation you can lay in your lap, and especially with the transfer portal nowadays. You know, it's mind blowing what you can do with it.
The transfer portal, wow! You can be at Belhaven and you say you go all conference your sophomore year. You're all conference cornerback, dude. You can go from Belhaven to Tulane University just like that. So overnight. So the kids these days don't give up on the process, no matter what school you end up going to. Even if you'd like, oh, that's a little lower than I was shooting for when I used to watch college footballs on Saturday. It's okay, because guess what? You might be able to still get there. Correct. It is way more possible than it was any time ever in our history. So, correct. You are essentially living a dream. So just stay in it.
Yep. You know, and you talk about living that dream and, you know, transferring from D3 to D1. One of the guys we played with, Cole McAlpin, dude was a stud. We knew this day one when he stepped on the field. He still got a chance to go play at NFL level from a D3 school.
Literally.
Now, granted, the coach he had, Coach McCorkle, who came in and changed the whole program, flipped it upside down. You know, a lot of people, I think, that were playing there before didn't really buy into his system. They thought he was crazy the way he came in there and stuff. But if you see where the program ended up and where it is now, we would have never dreamed that it would win a conference championship within that time span.
That's crazy. Crazy.
You know, and to know the NFL scouts, he got invited to the practices and stuff in their games.
Yes.
Not many D3 schools are going to get that recognition, first off. And not many players would get a rookie minicamp invite after that, you know. And we had Cole on the podcast, and we asked him what made you not transfer, because he had the transfer portal was there for his last 2 years.
Oh,
and he was like, the coach, man, the coach.
That's fair. That's love.
And we go back to that beginning of our conversation of this episode. You know, it's that welcome feeling, that wanted feeling. You know, he knew he had a job there. You know, and he even said on the podcast he came there to finish a mission.
Oh yeah,
the cork at the beginning. You know, and that he finished that mission. He finished with a ring.
He did. He finished with a ring, dude. And that's you signed the check. He finished with a ring.
Correct. So, you know, it's
yeah, that's beautiful.
I always think highly of Coach McCorkle, because not many coaches can walk into the situation he did. Don't get me wrong, Belhaven had the funding there all along because they built a gorgeous stadium for the size of the school it is.
Yeah.
And the facilities we had, they were a lot better than even some D1 schools. You know, we had guys transfer in from Texas Southern and we were like, oh, this is 9 a day.
Yeah,
you know?
literally.
So it was blessed. I just think the discipline and stuff wasn't there, you know, and Coach McCorkle brought that, you know.
He brought it
fast.
He brought it, and he brought it fast.
And I can't wait to see what he does with Northwestern State, because
I'm very interested.
He's walking to, in my opinion, a worse situation.
100%.
Because that place is in shambles,
dude. Like, not only on the field but beyond. So
man, they had a kid commit murder.
Yeah.
So it's a total different dynamic, man. Total different dynamic. And
dude,
I believe in him. I think it's going to take longer than it did with Belhaven.
100%. And I hope they give him that. Correct. I hope they give it to him.
Yeah, which I think they will, because
I think they will too.
They haven't had a winning
tradition
or any success in a long, long time.
I'm from Louisiana. Northwestern State That's how they've been my entire life. We have Nichols, we have Southeastern, both of those. We have McNeese. If
Yep.
you say Northwestern State, so he has time. He
Yes.
has time.
I totally agree with that, man. And
Yeah.
and we talk about that, and we talk about Coach McCorkle, and at the FCS level,
Mhm.
we really haven't examined NIL at that level. But when we talk about NIL at the broader scope, and we just talked about those kids that get involved with that off the field location,
Mhm.
that carries over into the coaching mentality. How does your coach mentor you? Because at Belhaven, Coach McCorkle preached us to stay as a family off the field. Which before he got there, we were a family off the field, but there was only certain niches that were part of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and we can blame that partially on the coaches. We had a pretty cool coaching at the time, but
Mhm.
like our head coach was vacant most of the time.
Yeah, he wasn't. It wasn't the force that we needed. He was just like he was like Danny Phantom. He was like a
Yeah.
yeah
Well,
coming.
he was a famed coach. He created the air raid.
True. True.
He created Kentucky into what it was known before Mark Stoops. It's
Yeah.
Tim Couch was his fame to Hall of Fame,
Yeah. 100.
and Coach Coach Mummy was just there just to be there.
Just
At
there
the
to
end of
be.
the day, I knew from the get go after the first game with Millsaps when we lost, and he was still happy, and he brought in his dog Scout. I was like, man, what is this?
Yeah, we're not locked in. We're
Yeah,
not. It's 4th and 23 on our own 12, and he like we might as well just go all goes. It might work, guys. It might work, and then
I
it
mean,
doesn't.
don't get me wrong, he broke records at Belhaven.
We did. We threw for 7 million, but we also
Yeah,
gave up 9 million. So it was like it was bad.
but
It was
and
tough.
we had we had a couple off field altercations.
Oh
It
yeah.
wasn't super bad, but it goes back to that coaching mentality, and
So,
that's why I think highly of Dion, because Dion takes that step to be a father, and he even
mhm.
said in his interview the other day when he talked about giving those kids that money is he don't want a coach that can't be a father off the field to his own kids. Because if he can't be a father to his own kids, how's he going to be a father to the kids
Yeah,
that he's
exactly.
coaching? You
True.
know, that's
Beautiful.
huge.
Yeah, that's good. That's
I
awesome.
tell these kids that are getting recruited, not only do you want a coach, but you want someone to mentor you. So whenever football ends, because it's not your life,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have something to fall back on.
Exactly. Yeah. Your coaches got to give it to you. They got to give you more than football. A
Yep.
good coach is going to give you a little bit more than football. He's going to
Yep.
give you, he's going to sprinkle some life in there. He's going to sprinkle just advice. And so if your coach is just giving you football, then he might be okay, but he's not on that level that you should want. Just,
Correct.
yeah.
So, we do a Prowler spotlight every week on this. And this week we're going to do the spotlight on the first big game of college football season. And it's not a high school topic, it's not nothing, but the kid that kind of has got the limelight around him right now is Haynes King, And what do you think about his journey of how he got kind of lost after Texas A&M, after being the big glamour 5-star recruit, to there after winning a state championship in Texas, which we all know high school football in Texas is totally different than most other states.
Huge.
What do you think about his journey? And now he just beat a top 10 team with a school that hasn't been really thought of for football in a minute.
So Haynes King, I think right now, I hope he's loving life. That's the first thing I want to say, because where he was at and how people was talking about him, I hope he's loving this right now. So where Haynes King, you might never see this, but David, hope you living life, my man. Because at Texas A&M, I remember that he was a high recruit. I'll just go back to that. I remember hearing the name. I remember when he was there, and I remember Texas A&M still being subpar. So I knew something was gonna have to happen. They don't. If you're not Johnny Manziel, then they probably gonna boo you out of there. So
Yep.
he got booed out of there, and then I remember last year. Last year, I was watching Georgia Tech versus somebody. Man, I cannot remember, but he was balling. And I was like, Haynes King. I was like, Haynes King, he feeling good today. But then they showed his his season stats, and he was balling all year. I was like, whoa, wait, what? So this year going into it, I was in a hotel, and it was the college football breakdown. It was like, man, who from the ACC got to come out and play big? And one of the people, they said Haynes King from Georgia Tech. And first game of the year in Ireland against a top 10, he played big. So no matter what you're going through in your career, you can always play big. and I'm glad that not just him, but anybody, you can always come back. And right now he's playing comeback kid. So I
Yeah,
like watching that.
I mean that's all the dream that everybody gets is that bounce back, right? You know, the Netflix flick Last Chance U, you know. It's kind of similar, you know, you get that last chance and he knew it. I think Haynes King knew after Texas A&M, after he blew several opportunities as a starter,
Yeah.
he transferred out and went a little bit smaller because he knew he might not need that pressure.
Yeah.
And I think being at a school that doesn't expect much right now in a rebuild program,
Mm.
that he's feeling good in his shoes right now.
Yeah.
And I
Big.
think Nick Saban called it on the dot. You know, is Georgia Tech's a sleeper, and partially that's going to ride on Haynes King's playing ability. And if he can keep being consistent and just complement the run game they got developed there,
Yeah.
people better watch out. They could slip into the 12-team playoff this year.
But easily. We were talking before we came on, and I was like, dude, do they play Clemson? And Preston looked it up. He was like, no Clemson, but still they got a little stretch where he's gonna have to be playing ball. And right now, it's first game of the year. So I'm not saying Georgia Tech to the bowl, Georgia Tech, but what I will say is Georgia Tech beat a top 10 team. And when you beat a good team, you become a good team. It's like you take a little bit of that power. You're like, ooh, that's us now. So that's what they're feeling. So Georgia Tech, watch out for them because they're feeling hot right now. Haynes King feeling good. He's feeling like big man on campus.
Mm-hmm. And I think everybody at Georgia Tech's feeling good right now because they went in Dublin, Ireland as a sleeper, and I think they were like a 17-point underdog.
Yeah, they were a big dog. They were a big
So
dog.
they were not respected at all in that game. And I think I told everybody on the podcast last week I don't think highly of Florida State. DJ, yeah, he did good at Oregon State, but let's come on, man. Pac-12.
Right.
Bo Nix went out there and balled out, you know, and I like Bo Nix. I think he's got some great upside.
Yeah.
I think Sean Payton's a perfect fit for him in the
NFL. He's the starter.
Because Bo Nix got a lot of similarities to Drew Brees, in my opinion.
100%.
But you take any quarterback out to the Pac-12, which Pac-12 ain't nothing no more. There's only 2 teams in it.
True.
But hey, you know, we saw Gardner Minshew go out there and make a name for himself. It's an offensive game, you know. It's just
if
you're looking for some receivers and quarterbacks, maybe you go out there a little bit, but you ain't facing much of a defense, you know. Oregon, I think, was a first true defense slowly forming to the end of that Pac-12.
Yeah.
And I told everybody, DJ coming back to ACC, if he couldn't do it at Clemson, and if he got beat out by a true freshman there, what thinks he can do it now at Florida State? Especially, he don't even got a Kenyon Coleman no more. So come
good.
on. Kenyon Coleman was one of a kind. He's with Josh Allen now. We better see him.
It's going to be dangerous. Yep, it's going to be dangerous.
You know, and I know everybody's freaking out that Stephon Diggs left Josh Allen. But man, Keon Coleman, it's a second coming of him up there. Trust me. So
I like it. I like Keon Coleman, so I like that take. I can't lie.
So we're gonna see what Florida State shakes out to the end of the year. I think that first game and the rest of the stretch, it's gonna be rough because they got to play Clemson. They got to play a couple other guys. So
yeah.
and they got to play Memphis, and Memphis ain't no joke. Everybody's picking them to make the playoff 12 this year.
Playoff that 12.
I picked them.
You picked them as that first team.
That first group of 5 team.
Yeah.
I told everybody. I said, if Memphis beats Florida State, their rest of the season's cakewalk.
Well,
they're in the AAC. They don't got to deal with Houston no more. They ain't got to deal with SMU. They ain't got to deal with Cincinnati.
Memphis. What week does Memphis and Florida State play?
Week 4, I think.
Oh, early. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool.
And I don't think many people realize Seth Hennigan, that quarterback there.
Yeah.
Man, he's been there since Paxton Lynch.
Golly. Paxton Lynch probably a 3rd grade teacher by now.
Exactly. He ain't thought about, and we think about that. And Seth Hennigan's a grandpa out there playing. He's 28 years old. He's Tom Brady's age. He's read that playbook by the back of his head by now.
Yeah. It's literally just what he does. He go to sleep. He like, why 86? Like, dude, he's sleeping it.
Yeah. So I think Florida State got some. If they play like they did against Tech, which I think Tech's taking some big jumps, but still with the Florida State defense they had, and it was bragged on so much last year that they should have been in the playoff, which I think we all realized at the end of the season when they played Georgia, when they get beat by 60, they didn't belong. And don't get me wrong, that quarterback they had down there before he broke his leg, Travis, if they had him, he could have been respected then.
Fair.
He brought them to a respectable level, but we also without him,
I'm with you.
I didn't respect him much.
I'm with you because I was like, I see what y'all say in Florida State. I truly do, but you're missing your leader. And without him, of course football is more than one person, but he was like 5 people. It was like 5 people they were missing. So that was too much to put him in. Sorry, Florida State fans. If y'all watching, sorry. I'm still with you.
I just want to thank you, Cinco, for coming on tonight. It was a good podcast, and hope people tuned in. The people that did tune in, I hope they got something worth it. I know we skipped around from high school to college, which college football just started back up, so it's a hot topic. But I hope the people we mentioned, you go look up their journey and see where it's taken them. But also make sure you hit up the Prowler. We're always looking for new athletes to help.
Oh yeah.
And we're always using the podcast platform to use like people like Cinco to raise awareness and their journey and things you can take back out of here. So, Cinco, before I tie it up, you got any last thoughts for these players?
Oh man, hey, keep grinding, boys. Keep grinding. No matter what people say, no matter if you hurting, no matter you like, oh my leg hurt, grind. Because you're only going to be young for so long and you're only going to be playing football for so long. So grind it out. I am 26 now. Do I want to play football? No, because I don't want to go to practice. But do I still love football? Yes, and that ain't never going to stop. So while you have that grind in your body and that love, put your all into it. That's all I really got to say. Thank you, Preston, for having me. Thank you for all the Bellhaven boys, my boy T, Ayo, Dill, Sean. Y'all already know we did it, man. We did it. So thank you, Preston. I appreciate it, dude.
No problem. And we're going to end it with our weekly quote as we always do. And it's Blazers don't let Blazers die, right, Cinco?
Blazers don't let Blazers die.
One and truly Blaine McCorkle,
Blaine Corks, man.
He was a good mentor, and that's partially the reason where we ended up, I think. So
true. He did his due diligence. Thank you, Coach. Thank you,
Coach. So, guys, be on the lookout for next week's podcast with our next guest. And as always, Prowler up.